Oh yes, I know the pain. Pain of Oh yes, I know the pain. The pain of Now, the lapilali coming in the base. Oh yes, I know the pain. The pain of Oh yes, I know the pain. Pain of
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If we could all please rise to sing the national anthem of South Africa. Thank you.
The story of customs is a journey through time, a tale woven with the threads of trade, security, and the continuous forward marching of human civilization. From the bustling bazaars of ancient empires to the high-tech border checkpoints of today across the globe, customs has evolved, adapting to the needs and changes of humanity. The evolution of customs is a testament to humanity's ingenuity and resilience. Customs officials are the silent sentinels of the world, the guardians of commerce and culture, standing steadfast at the crossroads of history and progress. Their journey reflects our own, a journey marked by growth, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to the principles that bind us together. Through their tireless efforts, customs officials have not only shaped the course of human history, but have also safeguarded the future, ensuring that the world remains connected, prosperous, and secure. Between 1999 and 2009, South Africa's customs went through significant changes. Under the leadership of the late Pravin Gordhan, customs processes were completely transformed. This modernization led to more efficient operations with a clear focus on tackling fraud and smuggling. The result? A major boost in efficiency that not only strengthened our customs system, but also had a direct positive impact on the economy and improved South Africa's position in global trade.
The work of customs and customs administration is crucial. We're the guardians of our borders, and through that we ensure safe and smooth flow of legitimate goods and services into our respective countries, whilst ensuring that society is protected by preventing the flow of harmful and illicit goods into and amongst society. The WCO is at the heart of this effort, and we gather here as part of a global and indeed the family of customs to engage in discussions ultimately that results in the formulation of policies and the strategies to implement those policies by ensuring capacity and capability in member countries. It is important that we remain relevant in an ever-evolving time. As we say, borders divide, customs connect.
Commerce is the heartbeat of our modern interconnected world. In our boundless connections through technology, the vast world feels intimately smaller as our shared experiences draw us closer together. Hey there, business professionals. Today, we're exploring something that's reshaping the world of customs and trade at SARS, the South African Revenue Services, using cutting-edge artificial intelligence and data science. This is going to be a game changer about how cross-border trade is executed. First off, let's talk about the challenges. The global trade environment is complex and full of risks: illicit trade, trade mispricing, and money laundering. These are serious issues that not only disrupt economies, but also pose significant risks to national security. Traditionally, identifying these risks has been a painstakingly slow process, but that's about to change. Enter artificial intelligence. By leveraging smart modern technology and data science, SARS is revolutionizing its customs operations. AI algorithms can analyze vast amounts of data in mere seconds, identifying patterns that humans might miss. For instance, AI can flag unusual trade activities. It could indicate mispricing or potential money laundering. Imagine how much faster and more efficiently you can catch illicit activities. But it's not just about catching the bad guys. AI also brings huge upside for legitimate traders. If you're an authorized economic operator, you're in for a treat. With AI-backed systems, SARS can offer a green lane experience, significantly speeding up the customs process. Less hassle, fewer delays, and lower costs. That's a win-win. Customs officials of the world all coming together, creating and strengthening connections to realize a shared goal of success, which in turn leads to a content, happy society with all our needs met by an organization that connects with purpose. Welcome to Cape Town.
So, welcome to Cape Town. Let me just, before we do the formal opening, share one or two health and safety protocol and housekeeping issues, because your safety is paramount, and it's important that you're aware that firstly, Century City Conference Centre, this is the building we are in, is smoke-free. Designated areas can be found at the entrance of the building. Restrooms are conveniently located at the atrium next to the reception area on the opposite side of Hall C. And for those of you who may need any form of first aid or assistance, there are medics available also in Hall C. And in the unlikely event of an emergency, if the fire alarm sounds or you're requested to evacuate, stay calm. And of course, proceed to the nearest safety exit. We will have marshals to indicate the way, and should you require assistance, then stay behind and you will be escorted with safety officials to safety. Security officials will also be stationed at the fire escape doors that will direct us to the assembly point. So that's the housekeeping out of the way. I would like to now invite Secretary General Mr. Ian Saunders to do his opening remark. Thank you, Ian.
Good morning, Honorable Deputy Minister of Finance, Asher Sarupin, Council Chair and SARS Commissioner Edward Kesvetter, Regional Vice Chairs, members of the Policy Commission, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is a privilege to welcome you to this 91st session of the Policy Commission, and it is a pleasure to be able to have this group convene in beautiful Cape Town, South Africa. We are most appreciative to South Africa for the warm hospitality and dutiful preparation that have enabled us to come together for this meeting and that have nurtured the prospect of fruitful discussion. I particularly wish to thank Deputy Minister Sarupin for joining us. I'm aware that the President called a meeting that precluded the Minister joining us this morning, and I ask that you please relay our appreciation. But as you both represent the South African government and have made the personal commitment to be with us for this opening of the Policy Commission session, please accept our sincere gratitude. It should come as no surprise that I, and indeed everyone in this room, live with an understanding of the critical role customs plays in both economy and security, nationally and internationally. Our 186 member customs administrations collectively manage roughly 98% of the world's trade, an awesome responsibility, and one that many times goes unnoticed because the reality is that doing our job well means being invisible to the public. It can often be difficult to decrypt what we do for society in ways that are easily understood. However, when leaders like you, Deputy Minister, engage with customs, it makes a world of difference. In a business that is marked by high demands and sophisticated adversaries, political support can help abstract aspiration become concrete action and bring other partners to cooperate with us in ways that make addressing the challenges we face in cross-border trade a truly whole-of-government endeavor. So thank you for investing in SARS and in customs. Thinking about the substance of our meeting, this Policy Commission convenes at a consequential time and in a significant place. Our session seeks to tap the collective wisdom of this group to inform the future work of the World Customs Organization, and through that, influence the manner in which customs administrations around the world mobilize themselves to realize the vision of trade facilitation, supply chain security, economic prosperity, and protection of society, goals that bind us all. We come together to identify and assess the small steps that contribute to customs' ability to support this vision today. We also come together to consider larger, future-focused steps that can position customs to secure this vision for tomorrow. And of course, we come together to ensure the WCO is prepared to continue in its mission, support members, and the collective drive to improve. This Policy Commission will be asked to consider with care the WCO's next strategic plan, one that will guide us for the next 3 years. You will be asked for perspectives on what course the WCO should set on specific topics that have the potential to impact customs capability and responsiveness to emerging conditions. It is indeed a consequential time. We have come together in a city whose history is steeped in custom and that visibly reminds us of the importance and impact of international trade. A city that has for centuries connected markets around the world and within Africa. We come together in a country whose experiences and culture remind us of the strength and wisdom that come from inclusion. We come together on a continent whose prospects for prosperity are closely linked to the effectiveness and efficiency of trade. Certainly, we are in a significant place, one that should energize and motivate our thinking. Over the coming days, we have a great deal of ground to cover, and we look forward to your advice, your partnership, and your commitment. We thank you for your preparation and your care as we seek answers to critical questions and clear recommendations to ensure what we set out to do will have the optimal impact. The WCO is able to accomplish what it does because of these key contributions that you make as members of the Policy Commission, and because of our clarity of unifying purpose as a global customs community. The Secretariat team and I look forward to the discussion, to working with you, and to leaving Cape Town with both useful guidance and strengthened connections that facilitate ongoing cooperation. Thank you, South Africa, for hosting us. Thank you, members of the Policy Commission, for engaging with us to move customs forward. I wish us an informative and productive 91st policy. Thank you.
Thank you for those welcoming words, Secretary General. Deputy Minister of Finance and representative of the South African Government, Mr. Ashur Soropen, Mr. Ian Saunders, Secretary General of the WCO, colleagues, regional vice chairs, my fellow commissioners and DGs, members of the Policy Commission, the Secretariat colleagues, my own colleagues at SARS, and to you especially, a absolutely huge expression of appreciation for the work you have done so far towards managing the logistics. To all our special guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. As we would greet you in my mother tongue, goeiemorgen en hartelijk welkom. Good morning and a heartfelt welcome. Welcome to Cape Town. Cape of Storms, or Cabo das Tormentas, is what the Portuguese explorer Bartholomew Dias referred to it in 1488, when he reflected on the treacherous weather and rough seas as he and his crew faced while navigating around the Point of Cape. The primary aim of Dias at the time was to find a sea route to Asia by sailing around the southern tip of Africa, but the severe storms and rough waters they encountered led to the name, indicated the ominous nature of their experience. This name was later changed to the Cape of Good Hope, Cabo de Boa Esperança, by King John II of Portugal, reflecting a more optimistic outlook that emphasized the beautiful Cape not as a place of danger, but rather as an important navigational marker, a port city that opened up the possibility of establishing a sea route to India and the East, which promised great opportunities for trade and expansion. This more hopeful name highlighted the economic and strategic prospects the Cape already represented then, rather than the perilous nature of the stormy weather that they had to endure. When the Dutch arrived in the Cape as the first European settlers about 164 years later in 1652, imagine this beautiful edifice that rose like a tabletop from the depths of the ocean as they approached the southern tip of Africa, after battling the ocean for weeks on end, threatened by the death of scurvy from the lack of fresh fruit and fresh vegetables, fresh water, a lack of vitamin C, and mainly eating heavily salted foods. They encountered the Cape as a striking tableau of lush biodiversity, a region with rich and diverse ecosystem. Table Mountain National Park in Cape Town today is considered one of the most biodiverse areas in the world. It forms the part of the Cape Floral region, a World Heritage Site, which is one of the richest areas for plants in the world, home to over 2,200 species of plants, many endemic to the Table Mountain and immediate area, not found anywhere else in the world. This incredible diversity of plant life, particularly the unique fynbos vegetation, makes Table Mountain a critical and irreplaceable area of global biodiversity. Of course, the true wealth that the Europeans found but failed to realize was not its biodiversity, but the richness of its people. The Cape then was inhabited by indigenous Khoi and San people, collectively known as the Khoi-San. These local communities had deep-rooted cultural and societal structures adapted to the local environment. The indigenous Khoi people were traditionally peaceful, engaged in pastoralism, herding cattle and sheep. They moved with the seasons, resulting in semi-nomadic lifestyles. The San people, on the other hand, were hunter-gatherers, and they lived as nomads, following game and in search of edible plants, water, and other resources. The settlers, on the other hand, began to establish farms, pushing further into the interior and encroaching on the lands of the indigenous people. This led to tensions over the land and water resources, leading to conflicts and social upheavals and the erosion of the social cohesion of the indigenous Khoi-San people. Sadly, this is evidenced to this very day. Ultimately, this exploitation was the basis of centuries of near eradication of what was native to this country and the pursuit of race-based oppression for over 3 centuries. So unfortunately, what became the Cape of Good Hope for the European settlers destroyed the hope of the indigenous people, who by their birthright were eventually dispossessed of their native land. Almost 350 years later, on the 11th of February 1990, a 71-year-old man ascended onto the balcony of the Cape Town City Hall, not far from where we meet this morning, to address the nation. He had just been released after 27 years of imprisonment, of which 17 was on the Robben Island across from the bay, and in full view of Table Mountain, not knowing whether he would ever step foot on the mainland again, but never losing hope. When Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, or Tata Madiba, as we affectionately called him, spoke, he committed himself to peace and reconciliation and the dismantling of apartheid. This was the moment when, for millions of South Africans, this beautiful city once again symbolized the Cape of Good Hope, a promise for a better future for all. Deputy Minister, South Africa's hosting of this conference as we take over the G20 presidency, our active participation in the WCO, and my personal leadership as chairperson in the WCO demonstrates our commitment not only to align with global customs best practices and standards, but to lead the much necessary customs transformation agenda, and for ourselves to become a benchmark for the world. South Africa's customs system dates back to the early colonial period. The first customs duties were introduced in 1652 when the Dutch East Indian Company at the Cape of Good Hope. These duties were imposed to regulate the trade and generate revenue for the colonial administration. And during the British colonial period, in the 19th century, customs duties became more formalized as trade expanded. By the time of the Union of South Africa in 1910, customs administrations had developed significantly, and duties were harmonized across the provinces to form part of a national revenue system. And today, South Africa's customs system is administered by the South African Revenue Service, which was established in 1997 as part of the broader revenue and tax reforms. SARS facilitates the 4 trillion trade in South Africa annually. At the same time, customs administration safeguards our borders, balancing the need to facilitate legitimate trade, which is the service component, with the responsibility to prevent illicit activities, the enforcement activity, whilst at the same time protecting society. SARS, through its inspirational vision of building a smart, modern tax and customs administration with unquestionable integrity that can be trusted and admired, has been instrumental in implementing digital innovations like the Customs Modernization Program, making voluntary compliance easy for traders, whilst decisively detecting and responding to non-compliance. South Africa, as a gateway to the African continent, plays a pivotal role in connecting regional and global markets. With its strategic ports, robust road networks, and modernized customs processes, the country is vital to the seamless flow of goods and services across our borders. Efficient trade facilitates a reduction of cost, enhances our competitiveness, and attracts foreign investment, all of which fosters economic growth. We are obviously also a key player to the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. The World Customs Organization, as a leader in international customs standards, provides a blueprint for modern, efficient, and secure customs practices. The WCO Policy Commission plays a crucial role in guiding global customs practices to meet the evolving challenges in international trade. It serves as a platform for strategic discussions on customs administration, ensuring alignment with international standards and cooperation. By steering the WCO's strategic direction, the Policy Commission ensures that customs administration worldwide are equipped to handle the complexities in global trade, emphasizing innovation, collaboration, and the efficient movement of goods across borders. It is my wish, dear delegates, as we meet in this historic city this week, we celebrate the Cape of Good Hope, that we meet as the premier body of global customs at a time where the world is threatened by geopolitical tensions, with increasingly fragile borders. It is my wish that we, the leaders of customs, can use this moment, here in the Cape of Good Hope, as a moment to restore hope, not only here, but across the world. An opportunity, through the words we speak, we reawaken a sense of renewed optimism. Through the choices we make, reflect an unyielding resolve and a commitment towards a more inclusive and a more equal world. That the work we lead through our officials every day, society may feel just a little bit more protected from the oppressive forces that seek to undermine social cohesion. Dear colleagues, dear delegates, welcome to the Cape of Good Hope. I welcome you to the 91st Policy Commission of the WCO. Good morning. And I would like to welcome the Deputy Minister of Finance for South Africa to address us. Mr. Ashore Sarupen was appointed as one of two Deputy Finance Ministers on the 3rd of July 2024 when the 7th administration came into being under the leadership of our President Cyril Ramaphosa. Mr. Sarupen is the first Deputy Chairperson of the Democratic Alliance Federal Council, attended Wits University where he completed a number of degrees including a Bachelor of Science, subsequently Master of MBA of Business Administration, a Master of Philosophy degree in Corporate Strategy, an MBA on Business Models focusing on the Internet of Things, and an MPhil looking at the impact of anti-globalization. So a scholar who decided at an early age to also become a politician when he joined the Democratic Alliance at the age of 17. He rose very quickly through these ranks, demonstrating his political acumen and leadership, and was the first a member of the Gauteng, which is one of our province's legislature, between 2014 and 2019, and in 2019 became a member of Parliament in the National Assembly and the DA's Shadow Minister of Appropriations Committee, which deals with the national budget. So it's certainly an honor, Deputy Minister, to welcome you as the representative of the South African government. Sir, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Firstly, to Mr. Ian Saunders, the Secretary General of the WCO, Mr. Ed Kisvetter, the WCO Council Chair and Commissioner of the South African Revenue Service, the Regional Vice Chairpersons of the WCO, Commissioners, Commissioners General, Directors General, members of the Policy Commission, special guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to use that South African diplomatic phrase, all protocol observed. Good morning, Sanibonani Molweni. Let me start by welcoming you to Cape Town. I do believe you engaged with the Mayor of Cape Town last night, and I trust that you all had a good engagement here in our legislative capital, the seat of our Parliament, where we make most of our laws, the laws that the Commissioner and our customs officials have to implement diligently and do so very well. 20 years ago, South Africa had the rare privilege of hosting the Policy Commission for the first time. Since that time, in those 2 decades, there has been a series of seismic changes globally. The 2008 financial crisis reversed many gains that were registered by countries, many countries, and disproportionately affected developing ones such as ours and those across the continent. We had the global pandemic, which resulted in global lockdowns and major supply chain disruptions, followed by trends such as reshoring and others that we're seeing now. We've had unprecedented digital transformation, changing business models, and disrupting innovation, which I studied diligently in 2 of my degrees. And of course, we have rising geopolitical tensions and geopolitical competition, which is impacting trade flows, trade volumes, and may continue to do so in future. So in light of all of this, I think we can agree that these are unprecedented disruptions, the likes of which we have not seen in at least 100 years. The WCO, in this context, has stood steadfast in its commitment to ensure that customs administrations worldwide respond meaningfully and speedily to these ever-changing and now ever-increasing demands. It is befitting for me to pause for a moment and congratulate you all on your resilience in the face of such stormy challenges. So, ladies and gentlemen, since its founding, the WCO has contributed immensely to the effectiveness and efficiency of customs administrations. This has resulted in enhanced revenue collection, which is very important, as you can imagine, for someone in my position. But it's also important as we pursue greater domestic resource mobilization at national levels in pursuit of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Disappointingly, in the 2024 annual SDG report card that was released in June, the UN reported that nearly half of the 17 targets are showing minimal or moderate progress, while over 1/3 of the targets are stalled or going in reverse, since they were adopted by UN member states back in 2015 to bring peace and prosperity for the people and the planet. This does not bode well for developing countries, and its relevance cannot be lost to the WCO, since 3/4 of the 186 members of the WCO are developing countries. Trade facilitation, which is core to customs administration, is not executed only for its sake, but also to ensure economic growth, with concomitant benefits of eradication of hunger and poverty, investment in education, job creation, which ultimately ushers in a life of dignity. All of this is critical for and resonates with the Sustainable Development Goals. The truth is that no single country, jurisdiction, or organization can move closer to the achievement of SDGs if it acts alone. It's only through global institutions, global solidarity, and universal commitments that these goals can be met. It is against this backdrop that all commitments that have been made must be urgently met. Customs is an integral part in acting together to change for the better the lives of all global citizens. South Africa has learned that the only way to address transnational crimes, be it cross-border, economic, or customs crimes, is to be deliberate in adopting a whole-of-government cooperative solutions. To add to this, we've learned that the fight against poverty and inequality demands nothing less than a whole-of-society approach. Similarly, the WCO cannot and should not go at it alone in its work. It should expand its cooperative networks and should leverage offerings of assistance and support available to it to enable it to better serve its members and achieve its mandate. So, ladies and gentlemen, while I commend you for the excellent work you have done so far, it would be amiss of me as a policy maker and you as policy implementers for me not to challenge you a bit. It's important that the WCO does not become complacent or move on too quickly to new trendy priorities without deep analysis of and reflection on its work to date and its effectiveness thereto. I believe that more should be done and that gaps still exist that need to be addressed. As I mentioned, South Africa first hosted this policy commission 2 decades ago. At that time, the WCO started engagements in customs, exchange of information, IT interconnectivity. My question is, how successful have you been in that space? And what further lessons can we learn? Commissioner Kisvetter recently returned, this weekend in fact, from attending the Global Forum on Transparency and the Exchange of Information for Tax Purposes in Paraguay. The Global Forum recently celebrated its 15-year milestone, during which it revolutionized tax exchange of information to an extent which has outpaced the customs exchange of information. They've developed and implemented internationally agreed standards for the exchange of tax information on request, as well as automatic exchange of tax information. The implementation at a country level, which they monitor through robust peer review and assessment processes. This has resulted in a leap in global tax transparency, effectively contributing to increased revenue collection and improved voluntary compliance with tax obligations, which has significantly contributed to domestic resource mobilization. The WCO 2018 report to the G20 on illicit financial flows via trade and its most recent report on illicit trade report underscore the importance of international cooperation and information sharing. My challenge to you present today: is it not time for the WCO to also pursue the adoption of binding international standards for the exchange of information, which are monitored via dedicated peer review processes similar to that of the Global Forum? Is it not time that customs transparency takes center stage in the fight against cross-border customs and trade crimes? These crimes severely affect the ability of developing countries to ensure that fair customs duties and excise is identified and collected. Significantly, as customs, we must adapt these standards to suit our unique area of work, while also appreciating various challenges faced by members of the WCO, so that, as I said earlier, we don't move too quickly and leave some members behind. Ladies and gentlemen, South Africa has assumed the G20 presidency on Sunday, 1 December. It is our intention to continue with the work that brings domestic resource mobilization to the center stage. I wish to call on the WCO to contribute to that work that will seek to rephrase the DRM conversation before the 4th International Conference on Financing for Development at the end of June next year. As I've explained before, the WCO has a very important role to play in this debate. And I hope that you'll take up this challenge and contribute cooperatively and on an equal basis to ensure that your area of expertise is both appropriately represented and reflected. As your famous saying goes, borders divide, customs unite. I hope a clarion call will emerge from this policy commission that will immerse customs in the important work that makes palpable impact on the lives of all citizens. The WCO has over the years proven itself resilient in facing up to the stormy challenges, be they technological innovation, changes in goods traded, reimagined supply chains, and fighting customs and border crimes. I have no doubt that you will rise to the challenges. I wish you all the very best for your deliberations. May they be robust, may you leave with clarity of purpose and sound strategic decisions in furthering trade facilitation and customs administration discourse. I also trust that you will enjoy South Africa, the views of the mountain here in Cape Town, enjoy our hospitality, enjoy our food, I strongly recommend it, and of course, our diverse people and our natural beauty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Minister, for gracing us with your presence, also for giving the stamp of approval on behalf of the South African government to our important policy commission. I'd like now to call on the Secretary General to present you with a token of our appreciation. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. What will happen now is we will have a short break to do our traditional photo and also have a coffee and whatever else you need your break for. I'm not going to encourage all of the activities that people use their break for. That's left to your discretion. The World Health Organization, by the way, is just across the floor from here. So what we will do for the photograph, there will be some of our officials will guide you, but the idea is that if you get out of the main hall, just to the left, there's a staircase, and we will gather there for our photo. We are actually 6 minutes ahead of time, but because of we have allowed 45 minutes for this break, we will reconvene at 11 o'clock. Thank you.